Even Chargers with the great Lorenzo Neal. Oh, look at that. Sporting a hat that says bring the juice. Lorenzo Neal. Low always
Gotta bring the juice, baby. Gotta bring the juice. Gotta bring the juice. The juice was, we didn't have the juice this last Sunday, Money, but
No.
we tried a couple plays, a couple series. You saw it spurts, but need more juice, baby. Need more juice.
Yeah, no doubt. Perfect time for the bye, and it's great to have Low here because he can speak to it from a player's perspective. I always try to do the post-game through my IG feed, and, man, people were getting on me. All the excuses, and I'm like, it's not. I'm just trying to explain what I think happened. Like, you can call them excuses, but you got to explain it somehow. So,
right.
So I'll start with this. Lowe's, we're presented by FanDuel. I'll always start with that because that's why we're here, and we appreciate them supporting the show and helping us put it on. But I just said, look, it looked like a team. There was not a single. I could not point to a single position group that was like, hey, did the D-line play well? Did the linebackers play well? How was the secondary? Wide receivers, running backs, O-line. It's Justin Herbert's worst game as a Charger. I said, just across the board. Unless it was J.K., the way J.K. Scott punted. That's, or Cam Dicker kicked. That's it. Punt coverage, bad. Kickoff coverage, bad. Return, not good at all. And so I just said, look, man, I think these guys are ready for the bye. Like, I think they just, and I don't know if that's offensive to you as a player to say everyone just looked like they didn't want to be there, that they were just done. Like, man, I've been playing football for 11 weeks. We started a week early at the Hall of Fame game. We went to Brazil. Get me the hell out of here for a week.
Yeah, I think guys were looking to the bye, but you just don't roll out and play football like that. I had a lot of people, my buddy Doug and people around that I know watched me with the Chargers, built relationships with. Same thing, Money. Like, this team just breaks my heart. Every time they try to get going, they're just like, what are the Chargers doing? It's like you hear, because fans are invested. They're in the stands and they're watching. You're watching it. You're trying to get some ribs or barbecuing your hot dogs or whatever you're doing, and you're watching that game. And it's your team, and you're watching. And when they lay an egg like that, and it's just a sieve, and and like you said, what level played well? None of them played well.
None.
It was just they all took turns. Offensive line was just getting beat. Herbert was their 4-man rush, and they were getting beat at the jump. 4-man rush. You got 5 offensive linemen. They only bring in 4, and they were beating you off the ball. It was crazy to watch. Off the defensive line got pushed down, got washed down. You saw even Derwin James, trying to come over the top, but the line was already washed out. Helix back, getting ran over. Guys are just pushing about. They got beat up front in the trenches where football games are won. Special teams was bad too. And this is where you're just looking like, wow, this Charger team, if they don't play complementary football, which I've been saying, because they're not going to go out there and just blow you out offensively, because their offense is not sound, because you don't have a great offensive line. You have an average to below average offensive line. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
And it's not a great offensive line. So if you don't play complementary football, play good defense, good offense, and special teams, you can't win. And that's they're a similar team to me, like the Niners, but the Chargers have a better defense than the Niners, more stars than the Niners. But here's a team that they find a way. They're scrappy on defense. They'll just get after you. They don't, they got ran by the Rams. It was just that they look better. And last game, and Jacksonville's not a better team, that much better than the Chargers. They look better though. They beat them up. They pushed them off the ball. They guys couldn't come off blocks. They look better. They look way more physical. They just pushed the Chargers around the field.
Yeah, especially defensive line versus offensive line. And I'll tell you, like, going into this one, I'm on the field. I'm talking to a bunch of the people that work with the Jaguars, and they're like, hey, man, this is a bad, not saying it. I'm trying to figure out how not to get anybody in trouble. If they're like, it's a bad scene, man. Like, Trevor won't throw the ball. They had this big meeting this week, and like, even in the media, they were like, we're just telling him to let it rip. Like, and you could see it on that first series. He doesn't want to throw it. Like, he's double clutching everything. He's got guys wide open. And then, for whatever reason, and this is an offensive line, and I was telling everyone, I was like, and I even kept my board. I don't keep my boards these days, but I even brought this home because I was like, just to understand, Walker Little has the 5th highest pressure rate in the NFL. 37 pressures, a 14% pressure rate, gave up 8 sacks. They didn't get Trevor Lawrence once. Not Tuli, not Khalil, not Owe. They barely pressured him. Like, he barely had any heat on him, let alone, got sacked. This was one of the worst. There are not many offensive lines in the league that you would go into a game and say, hey, they're struggling at a similar rate as the Chargers. The Chargers obviously are down, both Slater and Alt. It's understandable. But this is a team that lost their best offensive lineman for this game. We're playing a backup across the front. It's been messy, and the Chargers couldn't even get a pressure.
Because they ran the ball. Because
that's exactly right.
They ran the ball. It nullifies a pass rush when you can run the ball, money, and you can run it with consistency. Your boys are trying to, I got to hold my ground. They're hitting and reading. They're not just cutting it loose. They got beat up and they got mauled. That running back, he looked like a Hall of Famer, looked like a Pro Bowl. They were just running the ball up and down the field. And so when you can't stop the run, you're not going to get to the quarterback.
Yeah. So here you've got someone that's been pressured, that's made bad decisions, that's taken sacks, 26 of them, an average of 3 per game going in. And you walk me to it, Lo. The only way that you're not going to be able to feast on that is if you can't shore up your run defense. And like you said, it was just and I love Jesse Minter. He's awesome. I love, I think he's going to be a head coach, but it was just an odd game plan. They kept overloading one side. They were playing light boxes. We've talked about this. I love the 3 I want the 3 linemen, the interior linemen out there at all times. And they were playing with those 2 far too often. And it's like, give me the odd front, man. Give me the, Tart and Hand and Tuli inside. Or if you don't want to put Tuli inside, Caldwell. Give me those 3 big bodies and 2 edges on the outside. But I was going back and watching a couple of these runs. You got 3 guys to the left. And I mean, it's like, hey, I wonder where he's going to run it. There's a hole this big. It was kind of wild to watch the game back at how easy it was. They ran the same play over, and it was essentially just kind of like a counter that they were running back inside, and it was there every time they tried to run it.
Yeah, I thought the Chargers would say, okay, look, let's make Trevor Lawrence turn him back into the pumpkin that we know he can be.
Right.
And how do you do that? You put 5, 6 man front, and you play man to man, and you bump guys off the line. And what it does is make him hold the ball, makes him second guess himself, make him beat you. See, when you disrupt receivers and so he wants to get rid of the ball, he's a timing type of quarterback. Like you said, he starts pumping, patting when he's got to read through the progression because the pressure's coming. But when you can run the ball, first down, pick up 7, 8. Now you can still throw, run. You took the pressure off Trevor. See, he is not a guy that can beat you. If you say, Trevor's got to go win the game, it's on him. We got to throw the ball 50 times a game. We can't run the ball. It ain't going to happen. You've seen the way that he's played this year. He has struggled, but you play complementary offense and let Trevor have a good running game, because that running game wasn't good. It wasn't average. It was good. And now you can say, okay, now we can throw the ball. And he looked efficient. You saw the pick that he threw, though, and then he started getting calm, realized the line was holding up for him, and he started looking like a Pro War quarterback.
Yeah, look, and I'm going to try to do this because, again, it doesn't matter. The offense could only muster 6 points against a defense that has not been good this year. So, but at the same time, if you can get some of those short fields, if you can, create more turnovers, because he's been giving the ball up. Lo, you said it so perfectly, and obviously, I mean, you played the game. You know what it looks like out there. There's 2 things that I can kind of look at in this game, and I think this goes for just, and whatever, flush this thing and just look forward to the Raiders. But to me, you got a choice on. I'll start with Coach Minter. Go ahead and let me see Jacoby Myers, De'Ami Brown, Johnny Munt, and Parker Washington. Okay, let me see you beat my guys off. Let me see you get off press and get downfield, and let me see Trevor Lawrence to deliver the ball on time and accurately. And if you get explosives over me, then congratulations. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to honor those guys. I'm not going to give them 10-yard cushions and play with 2 high safeties and have the middle of the field be wide open. No, you hit it on the head. I want 7, 8 guys in the box. And I want my guys pressed up there And then if I get torched, I get torched. Instead, you kind of look at this game, and I'll tell you, man, the team stats are, I said this, I think it might be the worst game since, just in terms of who was available, who was on the field, because everyone's like, oh, the Raiders. I'm like, yeah, Easton Stick was the quarterback, and they had already given up on Brandon Staley. Like, that's kind of, I'm talking about if you take this thing in its totality, 45-0, Cam Newton Patriots at SoFi. It was COVID. Herbert's a rookie. They had lost like 3 in a row. There's nobody in the stadium. It was one of those weird games, where it was just the COVID year of 2020. Like, there's those games out there, but this one, you're coming off a 3-game win streak. Your defense allowed under 9 points per game the last 3. You've got all of your weapons offensively. It's all there. Oronde Gadsden's healthy. The receivers are flying high. Ladd McConkey's coming off a 100-yard game. Like, everything is lined up. And what do I get? What do we see? I shouldn't say it that way. What do we see? 30 first downs for the Jags to 8. 31st. They only needed 10 third downs, Lo. This team, they ran 69 plays and only had 10 third downs. They never punted.
Wow.
They, like that's, to put it in perspective, the Chargers ran 24 fewer plays, 45 to 69, and they had 12 third downs, just to give you an idea of how easy it was for that team to move the ball.
Yeah, and it goes to tell you that also, too, you're talking about a 3-game win streak. Chargers didn't respect them. You had a team that's saying, Jacksonville said, we're fighting for a playoff spot. Look, guys, we're not out of it. We're not out of this. We still have a chance, even though we've been playing ugly and we've had some ugly games. They said, let's get this is a get-right game. Jacksonville were more prepared. They wanted it. They were more physical. And you saw it. The Chargers came in and said, okay, we're going to roll it out there. They're going to see it's the big, bad Chargers. We're on a 3-game winning streak. We should win. We're favored. We're going to win this. And Jacksonville said, no, you're not. And that's what happened. The Chargers came in little because the way that they played, you have too much talent to play like that. That's a mental. You got washed. Your guys were getting washed down the offensive line, defensive line. Yeah. You're getting both guys sitting in the lap. It was like a pile up. They're like, okay, let's take these defensive tackles and DN and they were moving them during their pass to guard position. I'm talking about both guys on the other side. It was bad. And that's just attention to detail. That's readiness. It was mental and physical. Football's a physical sport and it's a mindset. And I'm just telling you, for whatever reason, these guys, they played, but mentally they were not. It was something was off. Something like you said, this game was it's not the Chargers. You don't get blown out. You're a playoff type of team. And here's the Chargers. It's going to be tough for this Chargers team to make noise in the playoff. You can get New England, as great as that young quarterback's playing, you can take any team in the league and you take their first 2 tackles and you say, go remove you. Now take the second string tackles and remove them. Charger down to 3rd and 4th and 5th string tackles, and then take your 2 running backs, your first and your second string running back, and remove them and see how far your offense go. I'm telling you, what they're doing is unheard of.
Yeah, it's
to
great.
Be that bad offense. I'm just telling you, I play on enough teams to know. I'm surprised that Herbert ain't getting hurt. I'm surprised that he's upright. I'm surprised, but he's taking a lot of hits, and it's showing that he's taking a lot of hits because he doesn't have time. And trust me, he's starting to see certain things because of the fact he's getting hit. He's getting a little happy in the pocket because it takes a toll on you. You're a fighter, and you constantly getting hit with that left jab. You ain't trying to throw that overhand right till you say, okay, I got to beat that in my pocket because every time I get ready to throw it, boom, boom, I'm getting a 2-piece. You'll stop. I don't care who you are. And that's what you're starting to see. A little doubt, a little creep, a little uncomfortable. Okay, boom, I'm looking to run, looking to scramble, get out of here because the offensive line has broken down, and you're starting to see it permeate on this offense just a little bit.
Yeah, you walked me right to it here, Lo. So here's my thing moving forward. Like, that's what I said on defense. They're playing the Raiders coming out of the bye, right? They're off this Sunday. They come back. They get the Raiders. You know what? I want to see Jack Besh, Tyler Lockett, and Trey Tucker beat me. I just crowd up on the line. Let me see you beat me. Crowd it up. Don't let Ashton Genty. Look at what the Cowboys did to him. Genty, you're not getting anything. Gino, if you beat us, congratulations, man. Way to go. That's defense. Offense, I think about what they did against the Steelers, and it's like, here's your 2 choices. do you want your offensive linemen to have to hold blocks, or do you want their corners to tackle? Which do you want?
Make them tackle.
It's like, just run quick game. I want to see your corners tackle my receivers. I want to see your corners try to get Ladd McConkey down before he picks up 5 yards. I want to see you try to wrap up Q one-on-one when he's got that stiff arm working. I want to see you press Keenan Allen and try to stop his release off the line. Like, I don't want Trevor Penning, who was traded for a 2028 seventh, and Trey Pipkins, who's a swing tackle, to have to hold blocks for 3 seconds. If that's my choice, those are my two choices. To me, it's obvious which one I would rather have, especially knowing that one of them doesn't involve my quarterback holding the ball for 3 seconds and getting teed off on time and time again. So, I think you said it perfectly, Lo, right? Like, what they're doing, that the fact that they're 7-4 through 11 games after losing Slater, after losing Hampton and Najee Harris, after being down to Austin Deculus and at one point Bobby Hart for 2 games. Like, it's pretty impressive that they're 7-4 and still in a really good position to make the playoffs. They're going to get Amari and Hampton back, we think, after the bye week. That's going to help a ton. But I just feel like, man, here's your A and B. Your A and B is, I want to see Trevor Lawrence stand in the pocket and allow his guys who are getting knocked off at the line of scrimmage get open and hold and wait for them to get open and throw with anticipation, instead of just kind of playing too high and leaving things wide open for him in the middle of the field where he can just dump it off too soon. Like, to me, I think moving forward, that's the path that I would prefer they walk.
Yeah, and I think they will. I think they have to, because if you don't, it's just you're going to continue to get Herbert punished. You can consider to get him off schedule. You have to establish, you got to do something, manufacture a run, whether it's screens, whether it's more swing passes, whether it's draws. You have to manufacture some type of run. Whether it's, the freaking quick reverse or the quick, guy comes in motion, pop it to him. Keep the defense stretched out. Make sure you get some type of run game. You have to make sure you get that, because when this team has to just drop back, and Herbert can do it if he has a great offensive line. But when it's drop back, 6-step, 7-step drop, and you got to go downfield and you're trying to push the ball down the field, you just don't have it, and you can't hold up, and you won't hold up. If you haven't got it fixed by now, you're not getting this fixed, because you can't put a Band-Aid on a shotgun wound. This offensive line is hurting. We get it, and it's not the lack of effort. You don't think these guys are coached up? We know who Nick Hardwick is. We've seen that guy play. We know they're trying. But it's when you don't have it and you just don't have it, you don't have it. So you have to continue, like you said, get the ball out of Herbert's hand. He's got playmaker wide receivers. This receiving core is loaded. You guys can't press him. Like you said, Keenan's going to beat you. He's so slick. It kind of reminds you of, what the Rams have, and what he's doing. Number 17 for the Rams. He's just boom. Keenan and him boom. They're slippery, hard to get. It's like boom. You got 3 receivers. You got a tight end that's fast, too big for safeties, too fast for linebackers. Get the ball in their hands quick. Make the quick game. Make them come up and press, and then boom, we can go downfield. And people think you can't throw the long ball. Guess what? When they're pressing, you slip them right there. It's a long pass because it's a short pass, but it's like a fade route because of the fact you beat them off the line.
It's just yak. Yeah, I'm not saying that Greg Roman needs to completely redesign his offense, but I think in light of the fact of how many hits, how many pressures, the Raiders are terrible, right? They're 2-8, but you still got Max Crosby, you still got Malcolm Kuntz, you still got Tyree Wilson over there. They're still going to rush the hell out of you and make life. So, they've been running a lot of 22 coming into this game. I think I got it over here. Where is it? They 70, that's the shotgun. Here we go. 22 personnel the last 3 weeks, 52 of 72 snaps with Matlock and Fisk, had the 3rd highest expected points added and a 56% success rate. So that's great. It's working. But at the same time, in game, if it's not, God, just to have some RPOs, just to get them to have to stop for a second, and allow Herbert just to kind of get that mesh, read the end, get a quick throw out into the flat if you can, and just kind of try to prevent him from taking so many shots.
Yeah,
Man, he got the crap kicked out of him
he
in
did.
that game. I mean, absolutely got just worked. And Penning really struggled in pass protection. Look, it's why the Saints pushed him into guard, because he really struggled on the edge. He's a good run defense. He's a good run blocker. They couldn't get anything going in the run game. And I think the Jags were just like, hey, man, let's see you beat it. Let's see you block it up. We're bringing extra guys. If you can get it off before we get to you, then that's sort of what I'm talking about. That clearly was the approach they took, where they're like, we're coming, and if you beat us, so be it. We'll take that hit. But in the meantime, here we come. Let's see you stop us. We're bringing 5, we're bringing 6, and we're going to be in your lap. And they were beating them with 4. I mean, they were beating them like a drum with 4.
Yeah, I saw him beat him with 4 a couple of times, and you just look and it's like, wow, they have no answer. Seen guys doubting their footwork up front, offensive line, just guys just not quick enough, slew-footed, just too heavy-footed. You just saw athletic ability against these guys. Get worked them, give them double move, and you see them just grabbing, trying to hold on, and just whiffing. It's not lack of effort, and that's the thing. And that's what hardball. This is where you got to be a teacher and continue to be a teacher, but just where you continue to be a coach. How far do you go? How far do you push? Do you push life? Do you jump on guys? And Harbaugh, that's what I love about him. He's not going to go jump on guys like, hey, you did, because he knows who he can and cannot do that to, like the Tulis and the Cleos and the Dorwins. Guys, that's unacceptable. You can get on those guys and push those defensive guys and say, this defense is supposed to be, hey, look, we got some things going on offense. We got to get, but this is supposed to be our state. You can do better than that. That he needs to be all over the defense. You got to push guys and make guys uncomfortable. Offensively, especially offensive line, they're just not capable. So it's how do you coach these guys? How do you make them say, okay, don't excuse it, but say, okay, here's what you can do. Bam, get that foot in the ground a little harder because, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to motion across. We're going to help you. Just don't get beat inside. We're going to have a tight end that's going to come over. The fullback's on your outside. So, okay, now what does that mean? That means you can sit heavy inside. Someone beat you outside. Don't worry, that's on us. So how do you simplify the game to say, we're going to make it easier on you? We're going to look, we know you're struggling at times, but this is what we can do to help you. Hey, look, third and this, we're going to slide them down line one. We're going to slide, do Liz or Rip. We're going to slide protection. And this is what we're doing. We haven't, the fullback or Fist come over and he's going to cut the defense in. So now you don't have him. You're going to be able to block double team with your guard. So this is the kind of coaching that needs to take place, because if you go beat up these guys, you can jump on them to you're blue in the face. You can yell out of money, do all those things. They just aren't good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, look, here's what they got left: 6 games. They're 7-4. I think 10 will get you in. 11 you feel a little bit better about. You've now lost the tiebreaker to the Jags, and that can loom large. Right now, you currently hold the tiebreaker with the Chiefs because you beat them head-to-head. They got 5 losses. You got 4. You still get a chance to play them one more time at Arrowhead. They don't look like that dominant force. You said it. Like, to me, the AFC looks wide open. If you can just get healthy, get into the tournament. We saw the Bills lay an egg against the Miami Dolphins. I know they bounced back. Am I afraid of the Patriots? No. They have the easiest schedule in the league. They look great, don't get me wrong, but they play the easiest schedule. So you tell me I got a second-year quarterback going into the playoffs with an offensive line that's incredibly young as well. Like, that's gettable. The Bills, obviously, that'd probably be the one team that I'd be the most concerned about. You already showed you can beat the Broncos. We've seen the Broncos offense struggle mightily. They're playing these tight games. Bo Nix had an awesome game-winning drive against the Chiefs, but we've seen him make mistakes late, and the defense able to overcome them. So, like, when I look at it, it's all set up. Like, just get in. If you can get in and you can start humming, you got Derwin and Khalil and Thule and all these guys, you can get after it. So that means you got 6 games. Can you win 4 of the 6? 3 of them are at home. Raiders, Eagles, Texans. There's 3. They're all at home. I know the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champs, but they have not looked like the dominant force. Their offense has really struggled. And then you got to win one of those road games. Can you win at Dallas, at Kansas City, at Denver? And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're looking at, though.
I think you got a better chance against Eagles than you do. Believe it or not, maybe the fans might disagree. I think you got a better chance against the Eagles than you do against maybe Denver. or maybe Kansas City, not because Kansas City, I think you can beat Denver because of the fact the Eagles don't go out and score. You can
Right.
keep that game close. The Eagle game is, I look at it, it's okay. Don't make mistakes. Let it come down to the wire. You can win. They're going to keep games close, but you know those guys, they can get after the quarterback. They can rush. But it's not an offense that it's going to just blow you away. You can keep that game and stay in that game. So I look at this schedule, like you said, the Raiders, you should win. The Cowboys, hey, Quentin went and they brought Quentin. They've seen the defense play a little bit better, but it's still the Cowboys. It's on the road. That's going to be tough, but
Yep.
maybe they'll be out of it. You never know where they're going to be and what's the mindset. Are they rebuilding? What's going to transpire doing that thing? Kansas City and Denver, they're 2 conference games. They're always coin flip. So it's going to be tough. They got some tough sledding. You got a lot of injuries. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. I mean, get that first one. It's all that matters. Yep. Get the Raider game. Raiders are a mess. They're already talking about maybe moving on from Pete. They're upset with Spytek, their GM, and Pete for trading for Geno. Everybody's jumping off. Yeah, Max Crosby saying, what are we doing? How are we in this spot again? So, that's already getting shaky. You cannot allow them because they've lost. Look, the Chargers have lost weird games this year, right? Giants are not good, and they got beat by the Giants. Commanders are not good, and they got worked by the Commanders. Jaguars were struggling. They were essentially going to be out of the playoffs. And everybody is asking, what are we going to do with Trevor Lawrence? The extension doesn't even kick in until next year, and you got worked. And so, to me, it's like you cannot overlook the Raiders. No. You got to go out there and you got to humiliate that team. Remind those fans you wasted your money bringing your costumes in here and acting the fool. Go home miserable and, just put a licking on them. And continue. Because, look, I think there's something to be said for that, right? To try to help put that team in further disarray and maybe cost him another year and get Mark Davis to feel uncomfortable about what he did and why do we have Geno and we got to get rid of this guy and start over and draft it. Those are things I think you have to think about in the division with those type of games. You got to win that game in emphatic fashion and get this thing back on track. Because I think you do that, especially if you can make sure that you keep Herbert clean. You got a super physical squad coming into town on Monday night, the following Monday night, with the Eagles. And that's going to be gnarly. And then on top of that, that's a short week going into the Chiefs. So you're going to be in a rock fight on Monday night, and then you got to play the Chiefs 6 days later and what right now is scheduled for a 10 a.m. kick at Arrowhead. So, to me, the guys got the week off. I love that. They don't have to get back to the facility until next week. And then just reset. Hopefully y'all feel better. This is how good we are. We're 7-4. We're still in contention for the division. If the Broncos, all they need is one stumble. If the Broncos stumble once and you guys can win out, you got the division. It's yours because you've already got one in hand against Denver. So, you can still play that game of you might still get a home game. You are still in play for a home game. The odds are long, no question. They're two ahead of you in the loss column, but you do have that head-to-head win. So
you do.
and
you gotta fight. It seemed like you said they got to regroup, understanding what's in front of you, understand that you still control your destiny. How are they going to bounce back? What is going to be this week of reflection, this bye week? Get out of town, take a little break, recharge, keep your body in shape, get massage, get healthy. But you got to come ready to work, and you got to play like your head's on fire because you can't stumble around anymore. You're 2 games from being out of the playoffs. You got to find a way to suck this thing up, protect Herbert, make sure your running game, offense, Chargers offense, they have to do a better running the ball and protecting Herbert. Yeah. You fix those 2 problems, you got a chance, and you got a chance to compete.
Look, and we know what the odds makers think because I got it right here on FanDuel. Raiders plus 8.5. So you're laying 8.5, nearly a touchdown and a field goal. The over-under is 42.5. That means they seem to think that, the Chargers defense is going to hold them in check. And I'm looking at that game against the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, it was easy. 25 of 33 for 268, 4 tugs, and a rating of 138.6. It's right there for you, man. Geno Smith, a touchdown, a pick, a rating of 77.3, sacked 4 times. It's set up so well where you can get those 2 weeks off, get your body right. You have an opponent that's 2-8 right now, and again, just belly aching about how miserable they are and what a disaster of a season it's been. and just put them away. And then that way you can kind of get your momentum back. And just to speak to not just, hey, speaking in platitudes of, yeah, play hard and get wins and beat bad teams. No, just I think offensively, I know they've been keeping in Tucker and Matlock and stuff. Just spread it out, man. Spread it out. Go out there with 11 personnel and just get this thing moving, man. Like, start getting those quick completions. Don't allow the defense to pack it in as well, because I think that's the other problem is when you're running all this 22, defenses are putting 8 guys on the line of scrimmage, and they're just overwhelming because it's leaky in the interior, it's leaky on the edges, and they're struggling to run the ball. So to me, I would rather just say, to hell with it, man. 5 guys up front, give me twins on each side, leak the back out, and let's just get this thing moving, man. Let's force them to tackle instead of forcing your tackles to block.
They have to get it fixed. They have to get it fixed right away. And what better week to get it fixed than Raider week? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't look too far ahead. Like, look, fans, and here's the other thing too. Like in after the game, everyone's calling for Greg Roman, and you gotta stop. We're in the middle of the season. The guy just came off a really good game plan against Minnesota, against the Steelers. The offense was humming there for a second, right? Justin Herbert's leading the league in passing, 3rd in touchdowns. Ladd McConkey's got a 100-yard game. Kamani Vidal's got a 100-yard game. Like, there have been good games. Like, I've been impressed with a lot of the stuff that Greg's been doing this year, that Coach Rowe's been doing this year. It's just a bad game, So he'll flush it, and he'll figure it out, and they'll get back at it.
Both coordinators had a bad game. Both coordinators just had he had a bad day. And like you said, how do you fix it? You fix it by winning. You fix it by tightening up the screws, understanding who you are, understanding your personnel, and saying, okay, we can't play this anymore. If we ain't go this NASCAR look, we're going to do that just on 3rd and long, 3rd and 10. Yeah. But this is what we're doing. We're going to go with 4 big down linemen, 3 down linemen. We're going to fix this. We're going to get this run game fixed. Offensively, okay, we know we're going to go some 22. Sure, we're going to go some 22, but we're going to start off. We're going to do some, 12 person, some 11 personnel, go 4 wides, get the ball out of Herbert's hand, turn protection, slide protection. Okay, Herbert, you know where we're going to slide. So the pressure is going to be coming here. They've got clock in your head. You see the corner walking down. He's coming, but we're sliding. You're going to be protected because we got 2 guys from 2 guys on 1 guy. So it's just going to have to clean up, and they know how to do it. This team has won, and it's won convincingly. We know this coaching staff can coach, and they've coached well. It's just, look, this is a bad game. You got to flush it out. Been in some of these situations. I think it was 2005. We had a pretty good team. We go to Kansas City, and I think they beat us like 40 something to 20. And you got off the bus thinking, okay, you're going to win this game. And you just go into a crowd and you start playing and you feel it. When they go, it's one of them days. It's nothing you can do. And that's what it was for the Chargers. It was one of them days. It was nothing they could do. This team jumped on them early. Chargers didn't come ready to go. And they just said they smelled blood in the water. And they were like piranhas. They ate them up.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I think as I kind of wrap it, to me, it's look forward. As we look forward, what do we got? We got the return of Amari Hampton. Think about what he looked like against the Giants with that 54-yard run and that 18-yard run where he was carrying 3 guys. And think about what he looked like in the early goings of that Commanders game. He was starting. I mean, he was looking like the best back in the league, like in that conversation over those 2 games, 2+ games. And then he got hurt. So that's coming back. You got 2 weeks to figure out this offensive line. What is your best 5 combination? To me, that's imperative. It's got to be figure it out. And I know it's not easy because, like you said, Lo, it's not Alton Slater. It's the fact that you've lost both of them that has thrown this thing into disarray, and the interior has continued to be too leaky. So figure out that best 5. Maybe it's Jamari Sawyer. Maybe it's a change at center. Maybe it's figuring out, is Trey better at the left instead of the right? Let's put Penning at the right because he's a better run blocker. Is it Sawyer at left and Penning at right? And Pipkins goes back to being swing. Like, there's a million different ways they can work this, but they got 2 weeks to kind of get that thing settled. Defensively, I think Coach Minter has said it repeatedly. I fully believe in him. And I do think he's always said, it's not about my scheme, it's about my personnel. How can I put them in the best position to execute the best? And so I think he's probably going to start taking a look at, we got to stop the run. We're going to take on Ashton Genty. The Cowboys did exactly that they dared Geno and these receivers to beat him, and they just said, Genty ain't doing anything today. And he ran 6 times for 7 yards. And they forced him to air it out. And what they do? They turned it over. Geno threw that interception. They couldn't move the ball through the air because they traded Jacoby Myers and their top receivers. Bowers is a problem, but just stick Derwin on him. Stick Derwin on him and just say, that's your job for today. Get after that. Let's load the box and force Geno to make decisions quickly, because he doesn't do well when, you got to move him off his spot. You got to get him to kind of get uncomfortable. If you give him time back there, he'll dice you up. He is certainly good enough to do that. So to me, it's just sort of an inventory week, and I'm anxious to see what they come out with. And I believe it's going to look great. I really do. And I think it just, again, Hall of Fame game. They started training camp 2 weeks before everybody else. You go to Brazil. You've got every other week a 10 a.m. start on the East Coast, to New York, to Miami, to Jacksonville, to Nashville, like all of these 10 a.m. games. And I think they're just beat-ass tired, man. I think it was just time to get this thing, and I hope I'm right. I know people are saying I'm making excuses, but to me, it's just get this week off, man, and recharge your batteries, because, man, that is a big ask that the NFL gave this team this year, waiting until week 12 for their bye after how this schedule laid out.
Yeah, it was tough, and I think Indy was another game that was tough. They got beat up on, and they bounced back. So hopefully they have that same type of energy. Indy they couldn't stop Indy. Indy didn't punt the ball, I think, once either. So you had the same type of game, one on the road and one at home. Hopefully those are over. You got those two out of you. You had one on the road, you had one at home. Now let's see how this team bounces back. They did a great job after Indy embarrassed them. That's pride. So let's see what kind of pride and see what kind of we're going to get a Charger team that's going to be resilient to get this thing fixed.
Love it, Lo. And let's get Lo into the Hall of Fame. I'm tired
of this crap.
Let's do it. We'll be back next week. I think we're going to try to do an early one just because it's Thanksgiving. I'm heading back to see my folks in the Midwest. So
good for you.
Might end up, keep an eye out, people. I think we might be doing a live on Monday, about the same time, right around like 8:30 Pacific is what we'll probably be looking at. That way we can interact with you. You can tell me how I'm making excuses and I'm a chump and all that fun stuff. So
you're the best,
schedules. Set your schedules for we're thinking Monday around 8:30, 8:45 a.m. We'll get this thing rolling for the after the bye week, where there's really nothing to look back at, but kind of move forward, and we'll let you guys have your say. Check out FanDuel. Again, the odds, drop them on you one more time. 8.5 is what they're laying to the Raiders. Right now, odds to win the next game, -460 on the money line. Odds to win the division, understandably, +550. So quite the long shot. Odds to win the Super Bowl all the way up to +3,300. That thing was under 2,000 when they were on their 3-game win streak. So, you Bleav in your bolts, get after it with our friends at FanDuel. Big thank you to Lindsay. Bolt up, Lo, and we'll get you on Monday, hopefully, on a YouTube Live. All right.
Cheers.